a business question about Truth Social. You've seen this stock on the move in this I'll call it remarkable, maybe even crazy way.
Just say two words: GameStop.
GameStop. That's what you think is going on here.
It's ridiculous. The company has no revenue.
But do you think it could ever be a bigger business? Do you think if he wins the presidency, it becomes?
Why?
I'm asking.
Why would it be bigger? Look, he's only interesting now because he's out there entertaining the folks. I hope if he does get elected, he just plays golf for 4 years.
I gotta watch more business news. That was fun. That was Barry Diller on CNBC slamming the media company that owns Truth Social. And in response to those questions, like, no, why? Come on. And I'm him, man. I've never been more a person speaking on CNBC. Yeah, Truth Social doesn't make any money. It loses tons of money. You could arguably launch a competing social media company just with the money it lost in 2023. But Barry Diller there is not looking at it from the point of view of a MAGA person, but just as an investor. Is this a thing that we have any reason to believe will be worth more money than it is now, or even as much money as it's worth now? And he doesn't think so, but he wants to respond to some of the people who are getting involved in investing in this. Take a look at that.
So do you think that all of the investors in this are getting scammed? Do you think they think this is a transference of wealth from one side to the other, and that's the goal? What do you think is happening?
I think they're dopes. I mean, who would buy a company that literally has, I think, what does it have? $30 of revenue? Why would you how could you put a value on it? They're buying it for other reasons, just like they bought theaters when there was no theater business, or they bought GameStop or whatever. It's stupid. It's stupid stuff.
It was 1,000 times revenue, I think.
What?
I think it was wasn't it 4 million? It was
$4 million in revenue. That's $4 million in revenue. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it's not ridiculous.
4 million.
Why are you even talking about this? It's a scam, just like everything he's ever been involved in is some sort of con.
Let me pivot.
Amazing survival of a con man is just beyond comprehension.
I don't know Barry Diller. I don't know anything about him, but he's so done with that conversation. And he's also right. Like the guy jumping in with the $4 million, like, yeah, that's good for like a random bakery or something. This is an international social media site that made 4 million and lost 58 million. That doesn't make it a good investment. And sure, people can pump the stock price during the IPO for a lot of reasons. As was brought up there are ways in the short term to make money, both on the rise and on the fall. That doesn't mean that a serious investor should invest in this thinking that it will organically grow in value due to increasing profits. It just won't. And by the way, before we comment, the stock price they were talking about there didn't look good. It had already dropped a lot. But I've been tracking it throughout the morning, and at least as of when I took this screenshot, it was down even more. It's still dropping. It will continue to, because while its initial price after the first day of public trading had no relationship to any inherent value that it had, neither does this. It ain't worth $42 a share either, any more than it's worth 80. It isn't worth $1 a share. It isn't worth anything. Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait. Click join now on YouTube. And Donald Trump is gonna respond to this, but I really hope that desperate people aren't investing in this thinking that Donald Trump is gonna save them or something. What do you think, Brett?
Barry Diller is the founder of Fox Broadcasting Company and USA Networks.
So what does he know?
He knows $4 billion worth of personal worth of media, and now he runs an internet services company. Barry Diller. So the thing he's talking about is this thing called EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So there's and basically you find out all your earnings before you even do any taxes. And the way that you value a company typically is you have this thing called an industry multiple, where you take all your earnings and you say, what industry are you in? And then they give you this coefficient to multiply it by. And at the height of the dot-com boom, it was 65. So you take all of you, and it got as low as 35, and some people have it now at like 5. So anywhere between taking how much you earn and multiply it by the industry multiple, anywhere by times 5 or by 65, none of that is the 1,000 that Barry Diller was talking about. They take its earnings, they should, to find out how much it's worth, they should multiply it by anywhere between 5 and 60. But no, they are multiplying it by 1,000. That is proof that it's insane. But that is how all these companies work. the idea that it is so difficult to create a social media platform that anybody uses. And there's so much speculation. Now, when you add the stock value to it, once it's already out there on the market, it opens up such a huge possibility for this to get futzed with in ways that we are absolutely seeing right now.
Yeah.
And you get the to the moon speculators who are doing it because it's a hot, but there's this thing called buy the rumor, sell the news. Right now it's the news. And everybody's kind of pointing at how this is so overvalued. The news is going to drive the stock price down, like you're saying right now.
Which, yeah, I would argue that we have been seeing that. And thank you for that analysis. I understood 10 to 12% of it. It sounded smart. It sounded very, very
It's John's
smart.
biggest pet peeve about like capital that shows up and gets dumped on a company and then they hire morons.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of Silicon Valley and that seemed similar to some of that.
It's exactly that.
But anyway, so look, the news comes out, the stock price is going down. I delight in that. Not everybody does. And I think you can probably think of one person who's not happy about it. Donald Trump does not want you to panic over the falling stock price of Trump media. And he tried to reassure people by spinning a fantasy that everything is gonna be okay because everybody loves Truth Social. He said on Truth Social, all of the competitors to Truth, especially those in the radical left Democrats party who are failing at every level, like to use their vaunted disinformation machine to try and convince people, and it's not easy to do, that truth is not such a big deal and doesn't get the word out as well as various others, which they know to be false. I think truth is amazing. First of all, it's very solid having over 200 million in cash and zero debt. I'm gonna pause there for a second because I don't know if that's true. He constantly says that him and the Trump organization has tons of cash and no debt, and that's never been true. So I don't know why we just trust that about this. But again, okay, you have cash from the people who launched it, but you don't have earnings. So you have cash and that can go down over time, but that's not a strong business position to be in. But anyway, more importantly, it is the primary way I get the word out. And for better or worse, people want to hear what I have to say. Perhaps according to experts more than anyone else in the world. My TV ratings are by far the highest and my rallies are not equaled. Look, I had hundreds of millions of followers on various platforms and could have had them back again, but was canceled for largely political reasons. Something about a coup or something like that. Those platforms all want me back. They need me back. And anyway, I'm gonna skip ahead though, because he goes on to say that everybody seems to get whatever I have to say quickly. So everybody's on Truth because they see my message, which is not true. People pick it up and then they talk about it elsewhere. That doesn't mean they're on Truth Social and seeing the ads. But he says at press conferences, I will sometimes ask, who is on Truth? I have never had one reporter tell me they're not. They're all on Truth because they have to be. No, they're not. They're not. Not every reporter is on Truth. I literally don't have a Truth Social account. I don't think many people do. And I'm not gonna go and analyze all the different reporters for all these different places, but I do wanna contextualize the claim that everyone is on Truth. And I'm gonna say, not everyone is on Truth. Not even all the MAGA people on Truth. You know how bad it is? Only 5 GOP senators are on Truth Social. And when I saw that, I was legitimately shocked because they should at least be on there. That's where the MAGA people are, or at least the MAGA bots, but they're not. Mitch McConnell's not on there. That's not particularly surprising. John Thune, no Tim Cotton. Ted Cruz isn't even on it. No Lindsey Graham, no Josh Hawley. He participated in the coup and he's not even on there. In fact, the only people who are on there are these. You got Marsha Blackburn, Katie Britt. She's desperately looking for any friend she can get right now. Chuck Grassley, who I'm sure knows that he's on Truth Social. He definitely signed up for it and uses it. James Lankford, who looks surprised in that picture to find out he's on there, and Tommy Tuberville himself. So 5 of 49. I don't think everybody's on Truth Social. I think, in fact, very few people are on Truth Social. But will this be enough to stabilize the stock price, Brett?
No. So the only real value I can see in a long-term, play for Truth Social is if it becomes the case that social media, the entire social media industry becomes wildly partisan and you have your platform only based on your political views, then suddenly it's the only ones that are valuable are the ones that capture an entire political movement. That's the only way. But there is no way that even in that scenario, basically, if you're dividing up the pie more, then each piece becomes less valuable anyway. So the ceiling for these companies is lower because they can never represent everybody the way Facebook could represent everybody. So it's just a bad play.
They're not trying to really.
And it's all this perceived value. It's the perceived value that Twitter had, right? Twitter isn't, for a long, if you look at the usage numbers, Twitter was never a place where everybody was. It still isn't, no matter how much Elon Musk futzes with the organic traffic numbers. But it was never a place where everybody was. It was a place where the news media went because it was easy to find quotes that they could put in articles and then make that coverage seem like it told the story of everyone, when it never was. Neither was any newspaper. There's a saying in journalism that's 1-2 trend. You just find 3 people that say the same thing. Now you can write your article. Twitter was a place that made that low bar even lower. And Truth Social is basically one, a barnacle on the underside of the social media whale that kind of makes that easy when you're writing articles about crazy MAGA people.
Yeah, look, it doesn't make sense now. I don't think it made sense to do. There had already been multiple attempts to create a right-wing, bubble like that, and they didn't work. And Twitter wasn't making money, so why would a smaller, more niche version of it make money? Like, you're not going to replace Twitter at that point. It's just too difficult. They have the critical mass. What they could have potentially done is he should have done Trump TV. That's what he should have done. Because they kind of killed Fox News briefly following the 2020 election. That's at least conceivable. It's more conceivable than killing Twitter and being profitable. They should have gone in that direction, and maybe they will. Maybe that's how they can make some money, but it's not going to be off of Truth Social. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.